Welcome to the next session of Thriving Through the Holidays. I am your host today, Julie Hunt, and I will be introducing Tracey Osborne today, who will be sharing with us about forgiveness and the power of forgiveness. Now, first, before we get started, I want to share with you a little bit about Tracey because she is known for her honest, open, and bold approach to woman empowerment. It's very passionate and near and dear to her heart. She is also a trauma release coach, guiding women on their journey to move past and become the empowered woman that they are supposed to be. She is a rape and domestic abuse thriver, and she connects with women on a global scale to support them in their healing, bringing them the tools they need to move past their past and create lasting self transformation. Who doesn't want a little bit of that, right? No longer a silent victim, Tracey uses her voice to make an impact and encourage others to do the same through her teachings of empowerment. And her mission is to raise awareness, facilitate change, and empower women to reclaim their voice and their inner power. So, Tracey, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for jumping in and hosting for me today.
Absolutely. I'm honored that you even asked.
It would have been a little weird if I tried to interview myself.
It would. It does. And this is a little bit different because I'm usually being interviewed by you. So this is fun. A little role reversal here.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start with the first question of how do you define forgiveness?
For me, forgiveness is it's forgiveness of self. It's letting go of the hurt and the shame and the guilt and the anger and all those emotions that we keep pent up inside. It's forgiving ourselves for all the negative talk that we have, that negative chatter that we're all so very good at. And
true statement.
Yeah, and it's being able to release all of that, not just from our heads and our hearts, but from our bodies as well. So forgiveness is a very holistic approach.
So does that mean that if we don't forgive, that we will start to hold that in the cells of our body and it could possibly turn into disease or illness?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely, because when we harbor those negative thoughts, those negative emotions, and the negative feelings, that becomes like poison inside of us. It's toxic. And so absolutely our bodies start to break down and we get autoimmune disorders and we get cancers and we get diseases and depression and all that kind of anxiety, all that kind of good stuff that and I say good stuff literally or liberally. It's not really good. But we get all that stuff and it's our body's way of saying, hey, something's wrong. Something's not going right in here. We need to start making some changes. And the first way to start doing that is to really just look inside and say, okay, what emotions, what feelings am I harboring?
That's a good step to start with. So why do you think it's so hard to forgive?
I think as a survivor, depending on what it is that we've survived, what our trauma is, for those of us, especially in domestic violence, or childhood trauma, it's been ingrained in us that we're not good. It's been, for most of us, literally beat into us that we're bad, we can't do anything right, we are fat, we're ugly, we're this, that, and the other thing. And it's very hard to start unraveling that because it has been, browbeat into us so deeply that we believe it. And so it's hard to start forgiving because you're like, well, maybe I was bad. Maybe I'm not worthy. Maybe I'm I shouldn't have been born, or, we get these bad thoughts negative thoughts in our mind because that's what we're used to.
Well, I think is along the lines of we hear it so many times we start to believe it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's beat into us to the point where we start believing it, whether it's verbally beat into us, physically beat into us. Um, we believe it. We get to the point where, I didn't make dinner right. I didn't have the towels straightened the way he likes them. I didn't do this, that, and the other. And yeah, so it is my fault that I got hit today. And we start to rationalize and believe that it's true, and that it's us. We're the bad people, and we're so lucky to have somebody taking care of us.
So I think there's so many of us that have had somebody who has hurt us in some way, shape, or form. They could have caused a trauma, childhood trauma, and and uh and I've heard that it's important to be able to forgive them so that we don't continue to carry the weight of that trauma in our bodies forever and ever. But but how do you actually forgive somebody when you feel like it was such egregious wrong?
I don't. I don't subscribe to that belief. Um, I believe that we forgive ourselves and we heal ourselves. And some people are able to find forgiveness and to forgive those who have perpetrated against them. I have in a couple instances, but that was after years of working on it and years of learning to forgive myself for the negative thoughts that I had, the blame that I put on myself.
Mm.
Um, and then there's others that have done me wrong that I will probably never forgive. And I am okay with that. I don't think about them. I don't think of what happened, or I try not to, I should say. But as I forgive myself and I release those negative emotions around what happened with them, then I'm no longer harboring that negativity.
So that's like saying forgiving myself for letting what they did hurt me over and over and over again. Is
Mhm.
that what you're saying?
In a way, now I'm not saying, like, I forgive myself for not sticking up to him for hitting me. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. It's more of the, I forgive myself for taking the blame, for blaming myself that it was my fault, for the telling myself that I am unworthy, for not loving myself, for hating myself, for harming myself, those kinds of things around it. Um, and it's a very personal journey, so everybody's going to feel differently. And you ask 10 coaches about this and you're going to get 10 different answers.
Mhm.
But for me, it's just everything that has to do with you and not with them, because they are no longer worth your energy.
Got it. So are there steps to forgiving? Do you have a step-by-step process that you go through when you're forgiving yourself?
There's a lot of, for me, it's meditation, journaling, which I know you're a huge fan of. Um,
Yes.
and then I use a Hawaiian healing, or Hawaiian forgiveness healing, called Ho'oponopono. And it's just an easy chant that I just repeat in my head over and over again. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I don't have to say anything else. I don't have to put any specifics to it. But that chant, just reciting it in my mind repeatedly, for whatever reason, it like releases the Mr. Clean bubbles, and it just scrubs me of all negativity, of all the bad. It just starts getting rid of the bad. Now when that happens, unfortunately, as I get rid of a lot of the bad that I'm working on, new bad shows up. So I'm peeling back this onion here, but as the new stuff shows up, at least I'm more knowledgeable about how to get rid of it, how to deal with it, how to cope with it.
Okay, so what did you call it again? Hawaiian?
I can't hear you.
Did you call it the Hawaiian something or other?
It's a Hawaiian forgiveness prayer is what it's called. It's Ho'oponopono.
Okay. I think I've seen that before.
Yeah.
So repeat the
I think you lost your mic there, hon.
Do I still have it off?
I can barely hear you. Is that better? No.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Is that better?
Not yet.
Is that better?
I'm going to pause the recording while we get this technical issue fixed. We'll be right back. All right, we're back.
Technical difficulties. Why is it that sometimes the headphones work and sometimes they don't? Okay, so we were talking about say it again, the Hawaiian name.
The Ho'oponopono.
Okay, and then what were the words that you repeat in your mind over and over?
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So what's the thank you for?
It's kind of a thanking yourself, thanking the divine, thanking whoever for the forgiveness.
For the opportunity.
For the opportunity. For the cleanse.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying for the cleansing, for being there for us.
Because forgiveness is really a gift in what you're saying to ourselves.
It is. Yeah. It's a gift that we deserve. We deserve to forgive ourselves. We deserve to no longer hurt and carry the burden of what happened to us. It happened to us. We didn't do it.
So what do you think the relationship is between love and forgiveness?
That's a tough one because you've known me for years and you know that self-love is an area that I've had a hard time with. What I have found is that as I have worked through the forgiveness and I have been able to release a lot of that emotion, I am finding more and more that negative emotion is being replaced with love. And it's really, I know, you're like, it's about time.
Goosebumps. No, it's goosebumps. Those are good words that lots of people are going to want to hear.
Yeah, as I work and I continue to do the forgiveness, that negative, because the universe abhors a vacuum. So you got to put something in there. Why not replace it with love instead of hate?
Right. Well, would you say that forgiveness is actually an act of self-love?
Absolutely.
A loving gesture to yourself?
Think of it that way in the beginning, especially, in the beginning of our healing journey, when we're still filled with a lot of different emotions. You may not feel the love at first, but one day you're going to just be like, what is that feeling? Whoa, okay, that's love. Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
Myself. The next thing you know, you're going to be skipping around the house, singing and doing cartwheels, and people are going to look at you like you lost your mind and you're not even going to care.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So why do you think people don't forgive?
It's hard. It's hard. It brings up a lot of emotion. They feel like if they forgive themselves, they're taking the blame for what happened in their lives. Or they feel like forgiveness means they have to forgive those who wronged them. And, that's not it at all. Why should I forgive those who have hurt me in the past? That's on them. They need to work on themselves, and they need to forgive themselves for what they've done to me. I need to worry about me. I don't care about them. They can't hurt me anymore.
Right.
But it's hard. It's not easy to get to that stage.
Well, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think a lot of us as children were taught that we should forgive other people for the things that they have done to hurt us. But sometimes it just becomes too difficult to say, hey, it was okay that you hit me or you raped me or whatever trauma that they caused in your life, right? That's how it feels like saying forgiving to them means that you're telling them it's okay that you did that. And I don't think that's what you mean by forgiveness.
Not even remotely. I would never say that's okay. And that's why I say you don't have to forgive those who have wronged you. Because that does tend to bring up that kind of an emotion. Well, if I forgive them, that means I'm saying it's okay what they did. And forgiving them doesn't mean that you're saying it's okay. It just means you don't want to hold on to that emotion anymore. And so if you want to forgive them, that's great. You can let go. But what I have found for me, and this is just for me, is that forgiving myself is enough. That's all I need.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to forgive those who have hurt me.
And by doing that, you are actually eliminating the power that their action had over you, right? Is that how that, right? Okay, good.
They can no longer hurt me. They don't take up space in my life anymore. They don't deserve space in my life anymore. Or in my head and my thoughts and my emotions. No more. And so, yeah, I've taken back my power.
So how do you ask for forgiveness? If you have done something and you realize that you were wrong, how do you ask for forgiveness?
That's a good one. That's a tough one. So when I was in high school, my senior year in high school, I really bullied the hell out of this girl because I thought she wanted my boyfriend, the one who ended up raping me. Great, I should let her have him. But I kept her scared. She, would pretty much turn and go the other way if she saw me in the hallway. I never harmed her physically, but I was a bully, and I reconnected with her on Facebook. Now the dogs are going to go crazy. I reconnected with her on Facebook a few years ago, and I just flat out said, look, I was a complete bitch to you in high school, and I am so sorry. What I did, the way I acted, it wasn't even your fault. It was my own insecurities. I, did not like the friendship you had with him. And I really thought that you wanted more, which she never did. They were friends for years before me and after me. But she really appreciated the fact that I apologized. I didn't come right out and say, would you please forgive me? Because that I don't believe is my right to ask of her. If she wants to forgive me in her own way, in her mind, in her heart, then that's great. But by coming out and apologizing, admitting what I did, admitting it was bad, it was wrong, that was a way for me to forgive myself or what I did to her.
Right.
Well, and I think she probably was quite relieved to hear you say that.
She was. We still talk. We still are connected. We're not like besties, but we're still very friendly.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And I love that what you said about not asking for forgiveness, but just doing the apology.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Um,
We're almost out of time.
I know. I'm just wondering if there was something else that you wanted to add about forgiveness that you want to make sure that people have remember. I totally love the Hawaiian thing. I'm going to write that down and I'm going to remember to use that for myself. That's a great tool. Is there something else that you wanted to share?
The biggest thing is just take it easy on yourself. This is not an easy journey that we're walking. This is one of the hardest things we're ever going to do in our lives with this healing. And forgiveness is only one part, but it is a big part of your healing journey. But take it easy on yourself, because what happened to you was not your fault. So,
right. Yeah. And don't be surprised if you start finding that your health gets better when you start forgiving yourself, right?
Your health will start getting better. Your energy will start getting better. You start taking better care of yourself. I have noticed I've been doing my hair and makeup a lot more because it just makes me feel good. Even if I'm not going anywhere, I'm getting on camera. I still have days where I'll do it.
Right. By the way, I like your new haircut.
Thank you. I did my very first French braid all by myself today.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's starting to fall out, but
it's okay. It was the first time. I think it looks great.
I'm proud of it.
Well, I learned a lot about forgiveness today, and I want to thank you for sharing this with everybody on this Thriving Through the Holidays. The holidays are tough, and forgiving yourself and giving yourself grace, I think, is a really important tool to have in your tool bag. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for stepping in and helping me do this interview today. I greatly appreciate it, and it's been so fun reconnecting with you.
Yes. I love you.
I love you. And for all of you listening, I love you too. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next episode.